All my life, I've had these feelings deep inside, seemingly trying to point me in a certain direction. And 99% of the time, I've just ignored them until I finally decided to go in that direction it was pointing at, not because of the feeling, but just because somehow, after maybe one of those rocky phases of life, it felt like it was the only thing left to do. And then, in hindsight, I was like, oh, that's what that little voice was trying to tell me, and seems like it was right. These feelings, which appear to carry important messages, don't arrive as loud celestial voices from the sky. They can take the form of a pause, a tightness in our gut, a nudge we can't really explain, a whisper that says, "This isn't it," or "Turn here." That's intuition. Some call it our sixth sense, or our gut feeling. And over time, I've realized that it's a lot wiser than we give it credit for. And although my life isn't so bad right now, it would probably be even better if I had learned to listen to that feeling more often. Now, I know intuition isn't taken very seriously. People think it's all incense, crystals, and vibes. Or worse, that it's just wishful thinking. But honestly, I think intuition is the soul's GPS. It doesn't shout, it doesn't explain, it just knows. Even my very rational friend who works in finance was sharing with me the other day how several of the most important investment decisions are often based on gut feelings, not detailed analysis of the market or what's going to be Trump's next move or Elon Musk's next tweet. So, what is intuition? Well, intuition isn't magic, but it is mysterious. It's that inner compass that picks up on patterns our minds haven't registered yet. It's our nervous system, our subconscious, our souls, all working together to tell us what's aligned and what isn't. And it usually speaks through the body. Have you noticed how sometimes your chest tightens before you enter a room, or your stomach flips just as someone says something that sounds nice but feels wrong? Or you meet someone and without any logical reason you just trust them? Or the opposite, you just don't, even if you can't think of a rational reason why you're feeling that way. That's not overthinking. That's your deeper intelligence speaking. And in my experience, the more you listen to it, the louder it gets. It's like a muscle that you're training. Now, here's the tragic part. Most of us learn to dismiss that voice. We were told, "Don't be silly, you're just imagining things." Or, "You're too sensitive." Or, "Trust the facts." Perhaps in the name of rationality, being reasonable, or science. And so we became brilliant thinkers, but deeply disconnected from our inner knowing. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with logic. I mean, as a lawyer myself, I do have a very rational mind. Perhaps the reason why I struggled so long with learning to use my own inner compass. But then, when that logical mind drowns out your gut feeling, well, you may very well end up living someone else's life altogether. Not cool, right? Have you ever had that experience when you knew something was off, but you went ahead anyway? And then later you're like, "Oh no, I knew it! Yep, we've all been there. But here's the beautiful part. I think that every time we ignore our intuition and get burned, we actually train ourselves to trust it more next time. So I don't see it as a failure. I think it's like feedback instead. I mean, I'm still burning myself every once in a while whenever I fail to listen. So yes, that's how I like to see it. Now, here's a question I asked myself several times before. How do I know if it's intuition and not fear? Well, fear is usually loud, but intuition, it's more quiet. It doesn't panic. It doesn't flood your brain with 27 possible disaster scenarios. It just knows, calmly, clearly. Fear might say, what if you're not good enough? What if you fail? What if you're making a mistake? Intuition would say, this isn't for you. It's time. There's something better out there. So one contracts, the other expands. And sometimes, intuition even tells you to do the very thing you're afraid of, like to speak your truth, or walk away, or start over. And that's when it gets tricky, because intuition doesn't promise comfort. And maybe that's also one of the reasons why we tend to ignore it. I mean, who wants to give up their comfort? However, what it does promise is alignment. So, how do we get better at listening? Well, here's the paradox. To hear it, you have to get quiet. And I don't just mean turning off your phone, though please do that too. I mean silence on the inside, stillness, because the soul cannot be heard when you're all chaotic inside. It waits. It waits for you to slow down, to breathe, to drop into your body. And in that space, you'll start to notice. You'll feel a yes in your chest, a no in your belly, a soft pull towards something that your mind doesn't quite understand or doesn't want to accept, but your being does. I think that's the path. Not always the easy one, but I think it's the real one. Okay, let's be honest. Oftentimes, intuition leads us into a storm. It can nudge you towards walking away from something that your mind probably considers very important to you, for your comfort, for your safety, or at least for your perception of safety and security. And for most of us, including me, letting go of those things we are so familiar with is difficult, very difficult. And our mind is like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? I can't do that. But your soul is like, you heard me right, and no, I'm not kidding. And if you're still listening, it might add, it's for your own good, even if you can't see that right now. But yeah, usually we can't see that, not immediately at least. And that makes it all the more terrifying. Because intuition doesn't guarantee results or promise happy endings. It just offers truth. And sometimes that truth will cost you your comfort, control, and certainty. But you know what it gives you instead? Peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. Just the knowing that you're finally in alignment with yourself, your true self, not your idea of who you're supposed to be. And ultimately, it also aligns you with your soul's purpose and sets you on a path of what you really came here to do. What makes your heart sing. You know, like you're finally living, not just surviving. So, if you've been hearing a whisper lately, a nudge, a quiet knowing, maybe it's not random. Maybe it's not crazy. Maybe it's the most sacred part of you trying to lead you home. Not the safe, predictable, everyone approves kind of home, but the true one, where your soul breathes freely. I think that's all intuition really is. The part of you that never forgot who you are. So, ready to start paying attention? If this video helped you tune in to that part of yourself that you've been ignoring, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button. We're building something beautiful here, and your soul, of course, is invited.